Today I do have important information and a really juicy one, and it's that Plarium has shared with us the information about the next fusion. We know that there's always like a 2-week gap between one fusion and another. There's been around that time between Ishiyama's fusion and now this next one, and together with the new campaign of Chaos Awakens, we're gonna have a new very, very interesting fusion. Let's have a look at it. Hi, Senda here and welcome to another raid video. In this case, I do have juicy news, it's not like yesterday's video, and Plarium gave us the information for the next fusion. It's a fusion, like I wasn't sure if he was going to be the champion of the fusion, but I knew of him, and I'm not smoking anything weird, I'm not making things up. I'm going to show you exactly why and why I knew of this name. But first things first, the next fusion is going to come next week. Next week on the, let me double check, on the 5th of June, there's going to be this fusion coming. It's going to be a dwarf called Tholin Foulbeard that we're going to see in a second, and this is how I know that this could be one of the potential champions. A couple of days ago, more exactly 4 days ago, Plarium on their official channel, they released this video. This video was mainly like lore. Like this is, I mean, the lore about this new content that's gonna come. There's gonna be this demon spawn are assaulting the Shadow King. Here are like the hordes of the enemies, all led by this new champion, this mythical called Kurosa. They're attacking this town, and basically in this kind of informative video is just lore about the game. We see this one champion here, which is probably or looks like a Sylvan Watcher. We don't know if it's going to be a mythical, it's going to be an epic, I doubt it, like a legendary. Here we have the Arbiter, and they're talking about this invasion and what can they do. And at some point of this conversation, there's blah blah blah, they talk about the lore and the things going on, and at some point they mention, or the Arbiter mentions, there is one more ally we can call upon, Tholin Foulbeard. He's an unlikely foe of the demon spawn, but a foe nonetheless. So they're mentioning this guy, and I knew first of all, like, okay, who is this guy? They also shared this image here, which we could see certain, like, we can see this one-winged champion, which, like I said, we don't know what it is. We can see some Shadow King here fighting against some demon spawn. Maybe, I mean, we don't know what this guy is. Probably also a new champion, I don't know. But we could guess that there's gonna be a couple of names fighting in this new lore, this new battle of the Shadow King, trying to defend from these guys. Here we have the mythical, here we have Kurosa, but basically this is how I knew of this dwarf. And finally we have here the information, that 100% official information that Plarium shared, that this guy is indeed gonna be the fusion. And it's a very interesting one. Interesting because it does a couple of really cool things. And to put it in perspective, let's say it's a legendary, it's force affinity, and it's type attack, and it's from the dwarves. So we can start thinking, okay, dwarf attack type, we have Tronda, and she smacks, she hits really hard. And also seeing the rest of the kit and seeing, like, I don't know, I was gonna say Thunder over here, but probably like that doesn't mean anything. It's something along the lines of Thor. It's one of these powerful fusions that you probably don't want to miss. And if you went for Thor and you've seen what is he able to do, I think this is a bit on the lines. Tranda, Thor, something along these lines. Let's have a look at the kit so we can leave everything much more clear. First of all, we have an A1 that says attacks all enemies. Before attacking, has a 25% chance of placing a weaken debuff for 2 turns. This is really good. We can see that with books is plus 25%, so a total of a 50% chance of placing the weaken for 2 turns, which means this is going to be an A1 that's max at all the enemies at the same time, and that has that increases the damage that it does in 25% because it's first applying the weaken and then is hitting. So for now, a very interesting and powerful A1. Then it says has a 50% chance of placing a 25% weaken for 2 turns, so it increases from a 25 to a 50, which means with books it increases from a 50 to a 75% chance if the target is from one of the corrupted alliance, a boss or a minion. This guy, Tholin Foulbeard, is 100% designed to fight good and to do good in the new event dungeon, where the big boss is the new mythical champion, this Kurosa that we saw in the channel, that probably you know there's going to be a new mythical coming. She's going to be the big boss of the dungeon event, and this guy is going to be specifically good for that. Also specifically good against any type of boss or minion, which means like dragons, hydras, clan boss, all these kind of usual suspects, and this effect cannot be resisted by enemies from the Corrupted Alliance, bosses or minions. So Corrupted Alliance is also a very powerful faction that we can see it literally everywhere. Let's start, for example, for Arena. Corrupted are these 4 guys here: Demon Spawn, Undead Hordes, Dark Elves, and Knights Revenant. And we have a lot of meta champions here: Comidus, Carnage, Candraphon, Lilitu, Mortus, sometimes we see Volcanoes, Chesarcat, Inithui, Chalco. I mean, there's a lot of champions here that we see them in the arena and are quite powerful. Hefrak as well. Again, from the Undead Hordes, we see some champions. We see lots of Rotos, UDKs, Sifis, Necrets, Heracletes, Fabians, usual suspects that we see very often. On the Dark Elves, it's not probably the most arena-focused faction, but the Knights Revenants it is. Embrist, Crixia, Arix, Calvalax, for example, Georgid, Hegi, Narcissus, Ancora, Caleth. I mean, it's a faction with a lot of powerful champions for arena, and all the kit of this new dwarf is gonna go around doing a lot of extra things to specifically this kind of champions. At the end, just the cherry on the top, grants an extra turn if a weakened debuff was placed on all enemies by this skill, which means that if we're fighting, let's say, against 4 or 5 enemies from the Corrupted Alliance, we have a 50% chance here, plus 75% chance with books, and there is a mastery that increases a 5% the chance of applying debuffs, so a total of 80% of placing a weaken. If we place a weaken in all the enemies, we're gonna get an extra turn. And this doesn't seem to have any limit. I mean, we can be, if we're lucky, I mean, in a very lucky case, we have to always land on this 80% applying the debuffs, but we're going to be hitting, applying the debuff. If we apply all of them, extra turn, we hit again. Do we apply weaken again? Extra turn. I don't think this is going to be how it works. I mean, I guess if you apply it once and then you try to hit again, basically to try to get unlimited turns, I don't think the second time is going to apply the same weaken, because it's going to, the game, the way it's configured, is going to be like, okay, you already have a weaken that lasts 2 turns, then I'm not going to apply you the same thing because you already have it. So it's something like, okay, we hit on day 1, we place weaken, we go on something else, we go into another skill. But so far, a pretty powerful A1, pretty powerful AoE debuff that's useful pretty much everywhere, and irresistible, which means we don't need accuracy on this guy. The second skill on his A2 attacks an enemy 2 times. Each hit will ignore 25% of the target's defense. If the target is from the Corrupted Alliance again, a boss or a minion, each hit ignores 50% of the target's defense instead. So if we're attacking anyone from this alliance, we're ignoring 50%, that plus a lethal set becomes 75, a savage set becomes 75, a merciless set becomes 85, because merciless has a 35% on a 6-piece set. I mean, this keeps going, and being able to have up to a 85% ignore defense by default on one skill that hits twice, it smells like it's gonna be smack. It smells like it's gonna be pretty good, and like I said, it's a dwarf, they hit pretty hard, attack base, they hit pretty hard, so it's definitely an interesting skill. And on top of that, each hit decreases the target's attack by 5%, stacks up to 25, and each hit also increases this champion's attack by 5%. So we can, every time that we use this skill over and over again, we increase our attack, and we make the enemy every time less and less attack, which is, like I said, 100% targeted to this Kurosa, which is a champion that needs a lot of attack and that is gonna smack really, really hard. So again, a very powerful skill. I don't know the multipliers, but it looks like it's gonna be a strong one. Then the A3 attacks all enemies 2 times, again we know of Tranda, she also hits twice and she hits pretty hard. Before attacking, places an increased attack on this champion for 2 turns, so he's able to self-buff to hit even harder. And for each critical hit landed on the first hit, I mean, if we attack, there's like 5 enemies, a boss and 4 minions. If we attack all 5 and we land critical hits in all of them, which means like we have 100% crit chance and we're not hitting against weak affinity enemies, we will get a critical hit. And let's say we hit 5 criticals on all 5 enemies, the second hit is gonna deal a 50%. 5 criticals on the first one, it hits by 50% more. If we land 3 criticals, the second hit hits for 30%. If we do 2 criticals, 20%, and so on. So the first mag kind of calculates the amount of critical hits, the second one, it increases the damage. On top of that, we'll ignore Unkillable and Shield, so probably pretty useful for arenas also. This with books will go down to 3 turns, same as the A2 will go down to 3 turns, so pretty powerful skills. That's why I said, like, think of this guy like something close to Thor, someone able to increase the damage, self-buff, also has hits out of his turn. For example, on this passive activates Demon Breaker, which is the A1. Every fifth turn this champion takes, which I'm guessing every 5th turn is gonna activate this skill, hit with A1, and then it's gonna be his turn, so I'm guessing he's able to do something else with his kit. He's gonna be able to do A2 or A3, so he's kind of a free hit every 5 turns, very similar and very on the lines of Thor. Enemies from the Corrupted Alliance, bosses and minions cannot land critical hit on this champion. That means no critical hits received, so like I said, top for that dungeon, and also top against anyone from the Corrupted Alliance, which is pretty prevalent all across the game. Finally, an aura 30% ally attack in all battles, so not the best but useful. 30% extra attacks, always useful. Like I said, it sounds to me like a very interesting fusion. Probably I was gonna say the best fusion of the year, but it's hard to say without knowing multipliers, I'll be lying to you, but something on the lines, probably I wanna say top 3, easy, because we have Fabian, which is obviously really good, but then we also have the Mad Hatter from January, which is also a very powerful fusion, and then we got this guy, so definitely a fusion you don't want to skip. I think it's gonna be an interesting one. I don't know if it's gonna be easy or hard, and what is it gonna require. I'm guessing it's gonna be collecting champions and then leveling up those champions, like a traditional fusion, because we come from Ishiyama. It's been a shard, like a fragment fusion. I'm guessing it's gonna be a traditional one, but we don't know yet. We'll know in the next coming days. But so far, looks like a fusion I wouldn't skip, because so far it looks like this guy can smack. It seems that it's going to be useful in Hydra, it seems like it's going to be useful in any wave clearing content, even against single target bosses, for example, I don't know, Chimera, maybe, just because we're able to hit really hard. Arena, we don't know, but that double hit there sounds also interesting, especially against Demon Spawn or especially against Corrupted Alliance enemies. I guess as soon as we know more information and we know more stuff and we get this champion in the test server, we'll be able to test it, and of course you'll have the video here. But for now, that's all from my side. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comments, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.